This is my life story. I was born August 17th, 1989. My mother and father, William and Kathleen Cody. Life when I was born was kind of difficult. I was born addicted to crack cocaine.
You and I both almost died when you were born. We was an emergency. I went in for a 12 o'clock visit, and at 1 o'clock I had a baby. All the fluids had leaked from around you, and they did an emergency C-section to save both our lives.
And, we had to struggle. We stayed in the hospital. Me and my mother stayed in the hospital for a while. First, they wasn't gonna give me back to my family and so forth, but we had to fight it out, and I'm with my family.
God brought us through, and there was also the fact that at the time that I became pregnant with you, I was at the last stage of drug addiction. And by the grace of God, I managed to stop doing drugs once I found out that I was pregnant. But when I got ready to go, I did continue to smoke reefer because I didn't think that was a drug.
We come a long way, and how we did it was basically sticking together with people that catching the blunt end of my parents' drug addiction and not really knowing what was going on. It was kind of hard for me to like become real friends with my family and my brothers and stuff like that, because we all have went through different things. Like, I had more of a better life that was set out for me and stuff like that. They kept me out of certain situations because they wasn't on the drugs, and they could tell the differences and stuff like that. And it became hard for me to really become friends with my brothers due to our different situations and the things we had saw, the way we was brought up. And I really started to cling to my sisters, and I had one brother that I felt real close to. That's him right there, Donovan Pusher. He right above me. There was a lot of issues with him too, but that still is my main man and so forth. And we do everything together. We still live in the same house and everything with my mother and father. And right now, we're working on fixing the patches in our family and so forth. And hopefully it'll turn out alright. He was there to support us, trying to make the best out of family and so forth.
Got ready to come home, they said, you can't take your baby home because we found out you smoke more than a joint a day. And I felt like I had worked real hard. I had. And I didn't have my baby to leave it there. I understand now that a drug is a drug is a drug. But at the time, I did have the concept that just smoking marijuana, that's marijuana. What's wrong with that? It's not coke. We was blessed to have a happy ending. They wouldn't let me take you home, and I wouldn't leave. I stayed the whole weekend, and Monday morning, Department of Social Service sent somebody in, and they allowed us to go home.
When the first house that I can remember was on Glasses Street off J, and back then, life was kind of confusing, because it was mad fun, but my brothers and shit always was going to jail. We got in fights like I don't know what, fought almost every day. And man, life was just sort of hard. But I mean, like, those was the best times of my life. And looking back on them now, I think like, wow, how come the hardest times of my life was my favorite? The times when we had to go through so much, that was my favorite. It don't really make no sense. It's always, but now I think about it, always like the hard times. When it get easy and you don't really have to do nothing, that's when you get bored, and then you try and look for stuff to get into. And I guess now, since we over here on Kansas Street off of East Main, it's totally different. and shit. Man, it was hard getting used to living over here. I mean, it was hard to make friends with people and stuff like that, cause like it's not really the type of neighborhood we grew up in, the type of neighborhood that I was used to, and so forth. So it took a while for me to get comfortable around here and stuff like that. I used to just sit at home and be mad because we moved and stuff. We moved over here on Halloween 1999. Man, Halloween just passed 2005 now. So it's crazy. And like, I just look back like, wow, we've been here mad long and stuff like that. And truthfully, I adjusted, but I'm still not fully adjusted to being over here. I drive by my old neighborhood every now and again, and I look back and I be like, wow, this is horrible. But it's not the same way it used to be. Everybody we knew done moved from over there and stuff like that. They no longer on J Street and so forth. All my mans done grew up, some in jail, some going away to prisons and junk like that, and don't really make sense. It's just crazy. But I know where they coming from, because I came from the same thing. It's just we all made different choices and we just got to deal with it. Like, I'm not saying I made the best choices in the world, but I done did a lot of things wrong, and I had to man up to those things and not try and run from them and so forth. And like, my man's being in jail, my brother's being in jail, prisons and whatever. It's just like, you look around and you see all of it, and you like, yo, we got to do something different. We can't just keep going to jail and perpetuating the cycle, because the kids looking at us, younger kids looking at us, our children gonna be looking at us, and they just gonna be doing the same things we do, and it really don't make no sense if you really think about it, that everybody just going to prison and jail and dying out here on these streets. So I'm just trying to make a difference in my life so that I can help somebody else. Because once you have something, it don't really make no sense to be stingy with it and keep it on. You gotta share what you got. Even if it's not money, it's not material, it's something like that. But if you got something that you can tell somebody and they respect you off of it, and you can get them to listen, do it. That's just how I am and stuff like that. All my mans know they can come and talk to me about anything. And so I just try and keep it as real as I can, because I know a lot. Even though I'm only 16, I done seen a lot and I've been through a lot and stuff like that, and people don't really understand how I could be a role model to somebody, and they see where I came from, but they don't really take the time to know where I am now. So I'm just trying to make some type of a difference in the community I am in now and so forth. So I'm just trying to better me to better somebody else. That's basically me, Malcolm Cody. Alright.